Hello, welcome back to the channel. Have Roots Will Travel. My name is Lisa Elvin Stoltari, and I am a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Over the last several years, I have been focusing my attention on les filles du roi, King's Daughters, as they are known in English. There are over 700 of them, and I have taken one by one, trying to get to know their stories a little bit better. Today we're on episode 266, so we've come a long way. I just want to also let you know that if you want to see what we've done before, please go to haverootswilltravel.com, and I have an index there, alphabetical listing, and also a numerical one as well. So once you find the number of the numeric that is associated with your particular fille du roi, then you can just find it numerically. So I've tried to make it easy to use, so hopefully it is. And I also want to let you know before we proceed to ask you if you would subscribe, like, and notify if this is something you'd like to do. It really helps us out with the channel and its growth. So I really appreciate each and every one of you who does that. And with that being said, let's get started and get to know episode 266. So Marie Petit is our fille du roi of this episode number 266. She comes to us from a viewer request. I did not have her in my files, so it was a pleasure to get to know Marie a little bit better. Marie was born in 1643 in Paris, France. Her parents were Eustache Petit and Barbe Cauchois. Marie was born in the parish of Saint Benoit. The church no longer exists, but this, on the bottom right of your screen, or bottom middle, is an illustration of what it looked like. It was situated in the 5th arrondissement. Remember that Paris is laid out in circles. The 5th arrondissement is the oldest in Paris. It was actually built by the Romans. Traces of the area's past survive in such sites as the Arènes de Nutès, which are Nutès arenas, a Roman amphitheater, as well as the Terre de Cluny, a Roman therma, which is like a bath, the Roman baths. It's also known as the Panthéon and is found on the rive gauche of the River Seine. The 5th is one of Paris's most prestigious districts. Found in this arrondissement is the quartier, the part in that circle. There's a quarter, and it's called the Latin Quarter. Doesn't mean it's Hispanic. It means that the language of Latin, which is the language of universities and colleges and very prestigious high schools, is found in this particular quartier, among which is the Sorbonne University. Now, this is the area that she would have been from, very cultural, very incredibly old place, and she chooses to come to New France. Now remember that her choice was built upon necessity. Both her parents died, and so out of necessity she came to New France, but she did bring with her a dowry of an incredible amount of 450 pounds. The groom that she would select and who would select her, his name Nicolas Delage, and he was born in 1637 in a town called Saint-Gonzac in France. His parents were Jacques Delage and Marguerite. We do not know her last name. Saint-Gonzac can be found in the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region, and inside of that region we have the département or county of Charente that you can see in the middle on the upper right of your screen. Now, Saint-Gonzac has about 2,000 people. It's not a small little village, but it's a little town. It is at the heart of the Grande Champagne, great cultivating region of the cognac. It produces some of the finest cognacs and Pinot Noirs of the area. The church, Église Saint-Pierre, dates from the 9th and the 10th centuries and was absolutely rebuilt many times. And then there is also on the left of your screen the Château de Saint-Martial, which is situated nearby. And so obviously these are incredible places. Obviously this is definitely would go on my bucket list if I was in the region. Absolutely would want to taste these cognacs and look at this amazing history. Nicolas would come to New France. We know that he's here out of the 1666 census. He is a domestique engagé, a domestic servant, in the home of Etienne Racine. So that is how we can figure out that by 1669, 3 years later, when she arrives, that he is ready to marry. So either he came in 1663, at some point, remember, they could not marry unless they had some form to prove that they could support a wife. So Marie and Nicolas would be married on the island of Orleans on October 10th, 1669. Now remember, she was given as well a gift from the king of £50. Now, Ile d'Orléans, as many of you know, is located in the St. Lawrence River. It's an island east of downtown Quebec City. The island was one of the first parts of the province to be colonized by the French, and an extremely large amount of French Canadians can trace ancestry to the early residents of this island. The island has been described as the microcosm of traditional Quebec and as the birthplace of Francophones in North America. Now, some of these pictures I actually took myself, 2 of them actually, on my recent trip to Ile d'Orléans. Just amazing. I cannot tell you how beautiful it is. Now, you'll have to see for yourself. Now, remember, in the middle here, I want to point out that Ile d'Orléans is divided into 6 sections. So you need to know where your family was in order to really do the research. And certainly if you go and visit. We have Sainte-Pétronille, Saint-Pierre, Sainte-Famille, Saint-François, Saint-Jean, and Saint-Laurent. So all of these have their own churches, their own archives, if you will. Saint-Famille, of course, is the largest. And most people, particularly at the very beginning, would have started out in Saint-Famille. Now, really and truly, you can see how close it is to Quebec City. It really is about 20 minutes away. And it's important to know how critical. Now, there's a beautiful bridge and all that, but in the old days, you had to take a boat. And there are still boats that take you there, but the bridge is there as well, so you can get on the island no matter what. They would go on to have one son, Charles, who would go on to marry Marie-Anne Manson, would have one child who survived, and we have and then he would marry Marguerite Plante, with whom he would have 8 children. All of whom would make it to adulthood. In the 1681 census, we find Nicolas, Marie, Charles, 2 bêtes à cornes, so that's 2 horned animals, either goats or bulls, anything with a horn. And we have 10 arpents, about 8 acres of land. Nicolas would pass away sometime between 1681 and 1686. We do not know anything about his death. We don't have a death certificate for him or any other kind of burial record. He was not yet 50 years old. He and Marie would have been married sometime between 12 and 15 years at this point. One of the reasons we know that Nicolas had passed away is that Marie would remarry, and she married a man named Martin Thibodeau de Lalime, born in 1636 in a place called Les Moutiers, Les Mourfets. Amazing name. His parents are Martin Thibodeau and Marie Dolbeau. Now, he is part of the Pays de la Loire region of France, and inside of that is the Département of Vendée. It's about 2,200, 2,300 people that live. Moutier means, in Old French, a monastery. And the Church of Saint-Jacques was started in the 10th century and rebuilt in the 15th. The Château de la Côte-d'Or began in the Middle Ages, and by 1615 it was the official home of the counselor to King Henry IV. Now remember, we had to guess at when Nicolas would have passed away. Well, we know that he would have had to be passed away as of July 22nd, 1686, when Marie would marry a second time. Passed away on the 19th of December, 1708, at the age of 65. She and Maitre would have been married 32 years. She would leave us with 52 descendants from that one child that she had. And Maitre himself would die 9 months later at the Hôtel Dieu de Québec. On my trip to Ile d'Orléans, I made sure to take up close pictures of each of these names so that later on I could find them. And here is Nicolas de Lage, and we see Petit. This is a tribute that you find for those 300 pioneers that built. So Nicolas and Marie, Nicolas, despite his short years on this earth, is recognized for his earliness and his pioneer spirit. And this is what he is known for. So he is on that monument. If this is one of your ancestors, absolutely, you can take great pride in that. So that ends our story of Marie. There was nothing small, Petit, about her. She was a tremendous force. And to have lost a husband so early on and to be left with the children and yet still carried on, remarried, stayed married for another 32 years, and then to end up really being a matriarch on the island of Orleans, Ile d'Orléans, is just a tremendous feat. So we thank her for her contribution and for her sacrifice. We honor her with that wonderful memorial at Ile d'Orléans. And we are so honored and blessed to have her among our Filles du Roi. And with that being said, let me say thank you to my patrons, supporters, and subscribers. You all are amazing. Thank you so much for helping me grow this channel and tell my stories. I really appreciate each and every one of you. So with that being said, let's say goodbye until I see you on episode 267. Until then, au revoir.